Communication. You are right, and the person arguing with you is wrong. Getting past this barrier so the person thinks you understand their perspective and are considering their ridiculous point of view so you can end this waste of breath conversation is the key to good communication. Communication is the basis of all human interaction in our social lives. It's not just the transfer of information, it's the creation of expectation, interpretation, pressure, ritual, identity, sometimes mythology. The internet and technological developments, while offering more and more ways to communicate, has also made it simpler for people who don't know anything to communicate with other people who don't know anything, making them all think they now know something and that they are right, and they come back to you with that garbage as if they know something you need to know. This is pretty much the basis of communication theory, which examines how we convey and interpret information. Communication is dynamic. The simplest form is linear communication, where a single person shares information to a passive receiver. An example of this could be you watching this video, or receiving information watching a TikTok video, or a friend rambling away on speaker about toxic relationship problems you've already told them to get out of, but they're still droning on, and you've muted yourself so that they can keep talking and you can watch your TikTok videos. They are active because they are saying stupid things to you with the authority of Reddit people, and you are passive because you're done listening and responding again with the same valid points, and they go, and do the same thing again next week, and it's starting to get offensive now. That's linear communication. Interactional communication is a variation on this. This is a two-way line of communication where a speaker incorporates feedback from the receiver, with the speaker and the receiver alternating roles. An example of this would be a job interview for something that is beneath you, but here you are needing to impress the 20-something interviewing you, afraid to make eye contact, and you've immediately realized that if you do get this job, you'll at best be propping this person up with your own work ethic. Good thing they've got amazing, thoughtful work experience questions for you, such as, if you were a kitchen appliance, what would you be? Great. Good thing you went to school for 17 years to be able to answer this. But you know what? Somehow you make the question work, even learning something about yourself in the process, while they offer such insightful responses as, right, okay. Interactional communication is where you have a systemic back and forth shaped by direct information as a response. This is useful when the person you're exchanging information with is a useful person saying educated things. When participating in interactional communication, even casually, with someone who is wrong about everything, a useful exercise is to listen to enough of what they're rambling about to formulate a single specific open-ended question like, if there really were multiple shooters in the assassination of John F. Kennedy, how did that many people supposedly coordinate and stay silent for 60 years? Wrong people who can only recite what someone else told them like to over-explain to try and find logic by accident somehow. This will in turn get them to indulge in educating you in a monologue format, a kind of wrong-a-log that gets them slowly transitioning back into linear communication so that you can take a trip in your mind to anything you want to think about instead. This type of interaction might be over text messages. Is there anything more satisfying than making a great point and watching typing bubbles appear and disappear for 10 minutes? I like to call these the typing bubble bath of being right. Now add a read receipt of seen at 9:42 p.m., the exact time I kicked your ass. The last model we'll look at today is transactional communication. Think of this as a spontaneous process in which both the sender and receiver send and receive messages simultaneously because they need something from each other, transactionally. An example of this would be a group brainstorming session where no one is really listening to anyone. No one wants to be there, but the 20-something manager who's in charge, yes, you aced that interview and unfortunately work for him now, loves a brainstorming session because it seems productive to anyone walking by, and the child manager gets to stand at a whiteboard while you're all seated without the need for an agenda, and this can go on as long as they want because each person's idea gets another person to respond with their own idea, and it's okay because there's no bad idea except for all the ones you're hearing right here. And now you need to pretend that this isn't diminishing any little amount of respect you used to pretend to have for these people to begin with. This is transactional communication. Apollo 13 became a landmark example of communication succeeding under extreme ambiguity as NASA shifted from rigid, linear, hierarchical messaging into a rapid, collaborative, transactional model built on constant feedback loops. Almost the exact opposite of the Mars Climate Orbiter, where one team used imperial measurements, another used metric, and an entire spacecraft accidentally communicated itself directly into the Martian atmosphere where it was burned up and destroyed. This being the modern Slack notification equivalent of that message we've all seen an hour into the meeting of, wait, which version of this document should I be on? The one you sent us, Mark. The one you sent us. So the next time someone says communication is key, remember, communication is also how your coworker accidentally vaporized the spacecraft and Mark uploaded the wrong PDF 3 times and is still somehow leading this meeting. If your side of this linear communication was successful, leave a like. Subscribe if we need to talk.